Let's start at the quarterback position. You're telling us to go back to a guy that did a few of us dirty last week. I hope you're right. I squeaked through with him in my QB position. I need him to give me a much better game this weekend.
Right, and that's Matthew Stafford. I mean, sometimes in fantasy football, you have to have a short memory and forget about what happened last week. Look, the matchup's great this week. They got the Ravens. Did you see what Joe Burrow did? He threw for over 1,000 yards against this team last week. Their defensive backfield is an absolute mess. And we've got all three of his top wide receivers, of course, in play. Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson. The running game has been solid with Sony Michel. Tyler Higbee's back. He was on the COVID-19 list last week. So I'm firing up Matthew Stafford despite the stinker and the 3 picks he gave you last week. And then I like Jalen Hurts this week. Now, he has failed to score more than 17 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 games. I get it. You know, the numbers have not been as good as they were earlier in the season. But I love the matchup against the football team. Why? Well, in part, they just absolutely gave it up to our guy, Dak Prescott, and our beloved Dallas Cowboys last week. How many points did the Cowboys score on this defense last week? 56? Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if the Eagles are going to get to that point, but I do like Hurts to rebound this week in a game that still has some importance there for Philadelphia. Speaking of Dak Prescott, keep him in your lineup. And I like Russell Wilson, too. Call me crazy. I like the matchup, though, against the Lions.
100% agree on Russell Wilson. I'm going to be using him in some DFS stacks, much like I did Joe Burrow last week. So even though T. Higgins crushed me in one of my leagues, at least I got some cash out of Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. So that's my small consolation prize, I guess. Okay, sitting quarterbacks this week. You don't like A.J. Brown and Ryan Tannehill this week.
Well, no, I like A.J. Brown. I just don't like Ryan Tannehill. And you know what? I mean, we're in week 17. And so, folks, if you're starting Ryan Tannehill, it's probably a 2 QB league, or I don't know how the heck he got here, all right? I mean, he's coming off a big win against the 49ers, but, I mean, his numbers still leave a lot to be desired. He's failed to score more than 16.5 fantasy points in 6 of his last 7 games. And last week, even with A.J. Brown back, he was under 15 points. And the Dolphins' defense is playing very well right now. Just ask Ian Book. Boy, was that terrible. So Ryan Tannehill is a sit-em for me. And speaking of the Dolphins, I'm also sitting Tua Tagovailoa. He's kind of been mediocre at best in the stat sheets. I mean, he hasn't produced even an 18-point performance since week 7. And the Titans' defense, while overall they've been generous to quarterbacks, lately that has not been the case. So Tua, outside of a 2 QB league, needs to be on your bench. Same thing for Derek Carr and the poster child for sit-em quarterbacks, of course, Matt Ryan going up against the Bills.